It's often said that life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and for some, one of those turns leads to a decision that forever alters the course of their journey. For me, that decision was marrying the first guy I ever met. It wasn't a storybook romance, nor was it the result of years of careful planning or thoughtful consideration. It was in many ways a leap of faith. A move that was both impulsive and, at the same time, deeply meaningful. Looking back on it, I realize that the experience has shaped me in ways I never could have anticipated. When I first met him, I never could have imagined that we'd end up together. It wasn't love at first sight, nor was it a case of deep, instant connection. In fact, when we initially crossed paths, I barely gave him a second thought. He was just another person in the crowd, someone whose name I would forget in a matter of days. But life has a funny way of pushing people into your path at the most unexpected moments. And sometimes, it's these very moments that turn out to be the most significant. I met him under ordinary circumstances. There was no dramatic moment, no spark that would make the world stop spinning and the stars align. We met in the kind of casual setting where people go about their lives without giving much thought to the interactions they're having. We were introduced by mutual friends at a gathering, a simple affair with no real agenda. But even in that moment of brief exchange, there was something about him, a quiet confidence that caught my attention. It wasn't obvious, but it was there. I couldn't put my finger on it then, but I felt a pull, a curiosity that eventually grew into something more. Over the weeks that followed, we talked. Nothing intense at first, just casual conversations, getting to know each other. We shared jokes, stories, our hopes and dreams. I didn't immediately think about what the future might hold. At that point, I didn't even know if he was someone I'd want to see again beyond the friendly banter, but there was something about his manner, his patience, the way he listened without judgment, the way he made me feel like I mattered, even in the smallest moments. Slowly, without either of us realizing it, our connection deepened. The decision to marry him didn't come after years of dating or extensive soul-searching. It wasn't preceded by months of deep emotional discovery or a drawn-out courtship. It came one day when I realized that I didn't want to wait any longer. I didn't want to spend any more time questioning what could be. Maybe that was naive, maybe it was impulsive, but in that moment it felt right. The idea of waiting for perfection, for the ideal scenario, seemed less important than the certainty that I had found someone who felt like home. I know that to some this might sound reckless. After all, how could I marry someone I barely knew? How could I build my life with someone who was still a stranger in so many ways? It's a question I asked myself many times before I made that decision. But the truth is, no matter how much we try to control our circumstances or anticipate what will happen next, there's always an element of unpredictability. Even when we think we know what's best, life has a way of showing us otherwise. And sometimes, what feels like the most impulsive choice is the one that leads to the greatest growth. In the years since that moment, I've come to realize that there's no such thing as the perfect time or the perfect person. There's no script to follow, no formula for success. Every relationship, every marriage is a unique experience, shaped by the two individuals who choose to share their lives. It's not about waiting for everything to align perfectly. It's about making the choice to commit, to show up for one another even when things aren't easy. Marriage, like any long-term relationship, is a journey. It's not always a smooth path, and it certainly isn't without its bumps and detours. There are days when everything seems to be falling into place, and there are others when it feels like everything is falling apart. But through it all, there's something incredibly grounding about knowing that you've chosen to walk this path with someone who, despite not being perfect, is your companion, your partner, your equal. We've faced our fair share of challenges, and while there have been times when I questioned our decisions, there have also been countless moments when I've been reminded of why I chose him. It's in the quiet moments of understanding, in the way he still makes me laugh when I'm feeling down, in the support he offers without hesitation, in the love that has grown between us in ways I never expected. Sometimes, When I think about how it all started, I can't help but smile. The first guy I ever met turned out to be the one I would marry, and though our relationship wasn't born from years of friendship or a slow burn romance, it has proven to be just as valuable, just as meaningful. In a world that often emphasizes the importance of careful planning and perfect timing, I've learned that sometimes the most significant moments in life are the ones that come without warning, without preparation, and without expectation. Looking back, I can see now that marrying the first guy I met wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a rash decision. Nor was it an impulsive move that I'd come to regret. It was simply the beginning of a story that was waiting to be written, one that's still unfolding, full of its own surprises and discoveries. And while I may not have had all the answers when I took that leap, I've come to understand that sometimes the best way to start a new chapter in life is by embracing the unknown, trusting that what's meant for you will find its way to you, no matter how it arrives. If there's a lesson to be learned from my story, it's this. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the best decisions are the ones that come from following your heart, not your head. You don't need to have everything figured out to make a meaningful choice, and you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to take a leap of faith. Trust yourself, trust the process, and remember that love, in all its forms, is often more about the journey than the destination. The moral of the story is simple. Don't be afraid to embrace the unexpected. Life doesn't always follow a neat and tidy plan, but sometimes the most beautiful things come when we least expect them.